It seems like you had a particular attachment to Rita Hayworth and the Shawshank Redemption. And this was something that stuck with you for years before it materialized. Were you just enamored with the original book, the novella?
I was absolutely just gobsmacked by the simplicity of it and the sort of the beauty of it. The thematic elements of friendship and hope being so nourishing to the human spirit, it just really spoke to me. And then I asked Steve King if I could have the rights to it, and he was very kind in allowing that. And then you're right, it took 5 years for me to get around to writing it. When I did write it, I did it in 8 weeks flat. But I set it aside for 5 years because I wanted my level of skill as a writer to match my ambition for that particular script, and I didn't think that it did it, when I first got the rights to it.
Is there a character in The Shawshank Redemption that you really identify with or has personal significance to you?
Well, certainly all of them, actually. Red being the observer, Red being the guy who takes it all in. Well, that's what writers are. We take it in and we try to interpret it. Andy, the guy who is, determined and is chiseling through a giant wall with a little rock hammer. That's a great metaphor for many things in life, including one's career, including one's work as a writer. Because when you're sitting and writing a script or sitting and writing anything that's challenging, you feel like you're there with the rock hammer, taking a little piece of it, out every day. So I definitely do, I definitely do relate. My favorite character in the whole piece, though, is James Whitmore as Brooks. And probably because my experience working with him was so, it remains so vivid. It was so rewarding. He was a national treasure, and I miss him still.
Redemption is in the name of the movie.
Yes.
Salvation.
Yes.
I mean, how much do those themes play into where you wanted to go with this film? That there's these guys who are in jail, some fairly, in the case of Andy Dufresne, not fairly, but he sticks with it. He's just knocking away at that wall for 20 years.
That's right.
Until he gets where he wants to be. Some birds are not meant to be caged.
That's right. That's right. And I think that's just such a great universal message, isn't it? It's why, again, so many people seem to love the movie. We all need to be reminded. I need to be reminded. And I try to remind myself daily that whatever the problems are, as long as you're drawing breath, you can overcome those problems. You can march in a certain direction that will get you to the promised land, to get you to that beautiful blue, horizon on that beach.
What did it mean to add that last chapter that was not originally written there?
Yes, the last scene on the beach. Well, see, Stephen King's story ended beautifully, I might add, with Red on the bus, heading down to Mexico, heading toward Mexico, toward an uncertain though hopeful future, and that was really the exclamation point on the story, which is he's found hope. That's amazing. And that's how I ended the script originally. And when Castle Rock was kind enough to say, okay, here, come make the movie, they also said, we love your script, but we'd love for you to consider adding the catharsis, for the audience's sake, of actually seeing the two men reunite, not leaving it quite that open-ended.
What did you think when you saw that in its completion?
Well, I was a little reluctant. I was a little hesitant at first because it's a studio note, and if you're a screenwriter, you're always hesitant. And I thought, is that like the typical happy Hollywood ending, or is it going to be is it going to undersell what we're trying to do here? And they said, listen, just shoot what you think would be the cool way to end the movie with that idea in mind, and we're not going to force you to use it. You have final cut on the movie, which is incredibly gracious, especially for a first-time director. They said, we're not going to force you to use it, but go shoot it and see how you feel about it. So I did, and I mean, from the very first rough cut in the editing room with Richard Francis Bruce, my brilliant editor that I was working with, we both just we're looking at that scene going, wow, that's really good. It's taken us on a really complete journey, hasn't it? It's gone from a place of complete hopelessness to a place of nothing but hope. It's taken us from gray, enclosed circumstances to a place where there are no walls and the horizons are limitless, from total lack of color to this incredible, beautiful color.
It wasn't scripted that way.
No, it was not.
Morgan Freeman and Tim Robbins.
No, it really wasn't. In fact, I was keying off of Stephen King's story, of course. And in Stephen's story, it's, Red is a white Irish guy, American of Irish descent. And Andy, Tim Robbins, was described as a very short guy. So I went into the casting process thinking, white Irish dude, really short dude. I wound up with Morgan Freeman and one of the tallest actors in Hollywood, Tim Robbins. But the essences of those gentlemen were right on the money. That's where you have to put your preconceptions aside of what a character looks like or what a character, it's the physical descriptions really don't matter. Ultimately, it's the essence of the actor that really matters.
Are you flattered? Do you crack up when people recite lines to you? What do they tell you?
Oh, I love it. Where I crack up is where they get the title wrong. And Tim and Morgan are particularly fond of recounting all the times they've heard somebody say the title wrong. The Scrimshaw Reduction is one of Tim's favorites. The
Hoodsucker Reduction.
The Hoodsucker Reduction, exactly. No, I always get I get a little lump in my throat when people come up and say, your movie really meant so much to me, or it helped me through a difficult time. Or this line of dialogue really just resonated with me. I've gotten letters from people through the years who say, your movie helped me thusly. I remember one was somebody who had gained, ballooned up to 300 pounds and had dropped out of school and didn't know why he should continue living, and then he saw the movie and he went back to school and he dropped the weight and he feels like he's got a purpose now. And like when you get a letter like that, it's like, wow, this is the reward of having gone through all that, having made the movie, that this has become one of those things that people can turn to in times of trial, in times of trouble, and gain comfort from it. Well, that's the payoff for the whole career, isn't it? Some of these people stood in line in the heat and humidity of Mansfield in the summer for over 3 hours just to say, your movie really meant something to me, and can I have an autograph, and can we take a picture, and can I hug you? That, again, I'm at a loss for words for that kind of commitment to something. The very first people in that autograph line, by the way, were two ladies from England. They had flown from London to come to Mansfield, Ohio. I said, well, what else are you doing while you're here? Assuming that this was sort of a sidebar to their trip. This was the trip. They came to Mansfield to see the prison and see the filming locations and to get that autograph and to tell me how much they loved the movie. They're heading back to London the very next day.
How much did that move you?
More than I can say, honestly. More than I can say. It really does almost bring tears to my eyes to think about that. Yeah, and that they would stand there for that long, and just patiently wait while we're all signing autographs and talking to people. Again, some people were there 3 hours in that line or longer. The one wacky character was the gentleman who had the entire Drew Struzan artwork for the Shawshank Redemption poster tattooed on his back. It's an amazing tattoo, by the way.
Did your mouth drop when you saw this?
It did, yes. He said, can I show you something? And he turns around, he starts taking his shirt off. I thought, oh, God, I'm not sure I want to see this. And he turns around, and there's Drew's incredible artwork. And I thought, wow, now that's a fan.
Hey, NBC News fans, thanks for checking out our YouTube channel. Subscribe by clicking on that button down here and click on any of the videos over here to watch the latest interviews, show highlights, and digital exclusives. Thanks for watching.